How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Algernon.
Daniel.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. You guys started 2014.
Yes.
Most people say it's crazy to get into the restaurant business. So what motivated you to want to be in the cheesecake business?
What really motivated me to get in the cheesecake business is food. I just really like food. I just really enjoy just being in the kitchen, working in the kitchen, and just anything with food in general.
With this cheesecake that you've created, this Carolina style cheesecake that you're telling me about,
Yeah.
I mean that's more than just enjoying food. I mean, you've come up with a whole nother product item.
Yes. Well, when I was originally started cooking, I got into food for the traditional chef work. That's what to make like the savory side. I found myself complaining about there being no good cheesecake in the area. I didn't like the way the cheesecake tasted. Everything was super heavy. It was overly sweet. It was really thick. And I was like, you know what? For a guy who spends all this time in the kitchen, you should probably just be quiet and make it yourself. So I did that and fixed all of those areas that I had problems with. It being too heavy, I lightened up the cheesecake a lot. It being too sweet, I cut back on some of the sugar and then made it really smooth. So I created a style of cheesecake, like inadvertently, just kind of fixing the flaws that I found with products locally. And it came out to be Carolina style cheesecake.
What's been the response to that so far?
People around here really love it. It seems that I was not the only one that had this beef with northern style cheesecakes for those same reasons: heavy, too sweet. So when I fixed it, I kind of fixed it, and everyone, or let me not say everyone, but most everybody took a real good liking to it. So the response to Carolina style cheesecake, a lot of people tell me they've stopped eating the Philadelphia or the New York style cheesecakes because of it.
Well, the response must be strong because you're here and
Absolutely.
you're operating and doing well. But
Yes, sir.
you started all this out in your house, right? What was that experience like?
Yes, well, that's fun. That experience was mostly dishes, just loads of dishes. But I was baking out of my house for maybe like a year or so, and people were coming to my house to pick up cheesecake. From my house, I ended up going to Baby Cakes. It's a bakery in Archdale. I actually own that bakery now, but I did not own it at the time. I needed a place to sell commercially. So that was for a while. I wanted to get to that next level, and I knew I had to get a commercial kitchen. I was lucky enough to talk to her and then be able to bake outside of that bakery. So I did that for a while, about a solid year of just baking out of the bakery and then selling at the farmer's market. And then from there, I gained enough money to open the doors to my first place, Uncle Cheesecake. So
it's been a long road.
yes.
Why High Point? Why did you want to be in High Point?
Well, High Point has always supported me. So I've lived here for the majority of my life. I played sports here. I've coached here. So the community here is small, and I feel like they knew me and they did really well at supporting me and the things that I was doing. I wanted to show love back to the place that showed love to me first. So I knew High Point would be the place that I started in.
We're coming out of COVID. How was it navigating through a COVID environment? You know, you were relatively new. You just opened here when COVID hit.
COVID, it made me figure out my business plan and my business strategy. And everyone has a plan until they get hit in the mouth, right? So once you get hit in the mouth like that, you got to kind of settle down. There was one day where my younger brother, who runs Baby Cakes, we were losing a whole bunch of money, and he sat me down. He called me. He was like, "Daniel, we have to do something." I came in here one night, maybe at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I sat down with a piece of paper and I wrote a plan and a strategy to figure out how I was going to navigate COVID. Wrote the plan. I showed it to my brother. He looked at it. We spoke on it. He told me I was crazy, that the plan didn't seem the brightest, and so I was like, "This is what we're gonna do." He agreed to it, and he just trusted me, and we trusted the process of planning, and it worked. Not to say that it was easy, because once again, just like everybody else, I was bleeding money. I saw revenue drop 60%. And then still trying to make it work was crazy. Nonetheless, we stuck with it and we made it through.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Eat, Drink, Triad, your #1 source for what's happening with the food and beverage industry right here in the Triad. As you can see, a lot of great things happening around High Point. I want you to stay tuned to Eat, Drink, Triad on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for what's coming next.